Loren
Hi,
is
great to be with you.
great to have you. You're the chief of police in Republic, Washington, currently running for the gubernatorial Republican nomination. What do you make of this situation downtown? And by the way, what's happening inside that thing right now?
It's absolutely horrible. We have a big leadership crisis here in Washington state, both at the city level, the county level in King County, where Seattle is at, and at the state level with our governor, Jay Inslee, and our attorney general. You know, we need leadership in situations like this, and they have let the what was a peaceful protest and is allowed under our Constitution. They've allowed that to turn into anarchy and riots and the burning of buildings and vehicles, people being assaulted, and they did not do what needed to be done at the time, and they've just let it fester. And now the 6th block area of downtown Seattle is being occupied on Capitol Hill, being occupied by a bunch of armed leftist extremists.
I want to show that folks are actually peaceful during the day, and then they get very active and violent at night. I think we have a skirmish between rioters and cops. Let's go ahead and play that with flashbang grenades. They're holding the cops at bay outside the perimeter of this so-called Chaz. That's very strange. I mean, I'm sorry, but two things. Why did the cops let this happen in the first place? And now that it's set up, why don't they just go in there and shut it down?
Well, I'd like to first say that it was very tragic and criminal what happened to Mr. Floyd the other day. His murder is being taken care of. Good police officers arrested the bad ones. 800,000 police officers across this nation do their job correctly with the community in mind. What happened that day is horrible, but what is happening right now in places like Seattle, where these riots have taken over and the militant far left extremists have taken over, does nothing to honor Mr. Floyd at all.
I get that. And all right, but I do want to, I totally understand and I agree with you. But again, you know Seattle, you know the state. I know it's far left, but I mean, come on. There are cops there. They're armed. Were they told not to mess with these guys? Were they told to let them, have a big section of the city?
Yes,
why don't they?
They were.
They were?
The leadership in King County and the city of Seattle are far left, and they made the police officers stand down. They made them leave their precinct, board it up and leave, and they said that it would de-escalate the situation, which it did nothing of the sort.
It never does.
No. What should have happened is the National Guard should have been called in as soon as it turned into a riot. And Jay Inslee did bring the National Guard in, but he unarmed them. And they are there as a show of force to bring peace to the community. And if they need to protect themselves or other citizens, they need to be armed and have the tools that they need to do that. But he sent them in there unarmed. And then the leadership in Seattle pulled the police out, pulled the National Guard out, pulled the state troopers out to show the protesters that they wanted to de-escalate. Well, it didn't work. You don't negotiate with terrorists on the international stage or the local stage.
Loren, I want you to stand by for a second. I want to show you something. You have to have security in your own village. Even if you're a radical or an anarchist, they want some degree of order. So they've been policing themselves. I haven't seen this, but I'm told it's kind of funny. Take a look at what they do to a vandal inside an anarchist camp.
We are the police of this community now. We are the leaders of this community now.
Someone's place, someone's property. No one lives here. Okay.
Right, but people do work here and live here. Someone does work here and live here.
And you're being disrespectful. That's what the point is.
Someone does work here and live here.
The anarchist security force took exception to a graffiti artist. I think graffiti is probably, no problem with your typical anarchist, but in that particular case, it was. All right, what's the sense there? This has got to end sometime. And we had a similar situation here in New York. Zuccotti Park, the Occupy Wall Street crowd, they took over a little plaza for about, maybe it was a month or so, and then the cops moved in and kicked him out. What's going to happen here?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen in liberal Seattle, but I know what should happen. They should be told to leave, and if they do not leave peaceably, then they should be arrested. The only thing these punks understand is force, and the good citizens of Seattle and King County deserve to be protected. There's businesses in there, there's people that live in that area, and they deserve to be free. and live in peace. And that's what will happen when I'm governor.
When you're governor, yes, and you got a bit of a hand, you got some competition. You're one of 5 Republicans right now. Hey, I do want to show you one more thing, and we'll talk about the campaign. They're erecting a wall. They actually want to keep people out. I heard that these radicals don't like walls, but they like a wall for their little city. That's actually them. It looks more like they stole somebody else's fence, and then they're trying to set it up around their little town. All right, sir. When's the primary? When's the actual election?
The primary is in August 4th, and there are about 5 other Republicans running right now. My campaign for the last 2 months, we've been leading here in Washington with the number of individual donors as well as the dollar amount that's been donated to my campaign by about a 2-to-1 margin. And the citizens of Washington State, I've lived here all my life. The citizens of Washington State love individual freedom and liberty, and they know that that's what they're going to get when I'm governor. We're going to get government off their back and out of their pocketbook and return it to a servant government the way our founders intended.
Loren Culp, Sheriff of Republic, Washington, current candidate. Good luck, sir, and thanks so much, okay?
Thank you very much.
You bet.